Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's Friday, and you sound good, Scott. I just want you to know that. I'm so glad you're here with us. It's Friday. You're on the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel. I'm Vickie Helm. This is the Coffee Break Show. It's Friday, so of course I have my friend with me. Of course I have the man with me. Scott Stevens is joining me on Friday. It is the holiday weekend. Now, I know a lot of you are just like, hey, it's Friday. We're packing up and we're heading out for the 3-day weekend. We're going to go camping. We're going to go do something with our family. And you know what? That is what we're going to do as well. So you are on the Metadigm Digital Network, and this is where you can find live shows daily that come in. And we have the Coffee Break Show as well as Tracy's Unlocked, and we have the weather every single day. We have the weatherman with us, and we also have my favorite show, which is Another Perspective. And as you come on board to this channel and look around, if you're new here, we go live Monday through Friday. We share tips, tools, techniques, and all those things that are going to create inspiration and motivation and information that is going to help you create thrivability in your life. Scott, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
It's the holiday.
You know, it's a holiday weekend. It was either a golf appointment or come here with you, and I chose to be here with you.
Oh, well, thank you, because I would hate to think that you were like, oh my gosh, I want to watch golf better. Hey, look at this. We have people coming on board. Thank you for coming on board. Hi, Vickie and Scott. Nice to see you all. We're heading into this holiday weekend. I want to let you know that on the holiday, on that Monday holiday, we will not be going live. We are taking the holiday off as well.
Yep.
And that's the cool thing about live shows. Live shows, you could do that.
If you're pre-recorded, you could just, air the thing.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do that.
Yeah, we're going to be, hey, how nice to see you. Happy Friday. Sorry, it's been a while. Yes, it has, sir. Where have you been? Been working on my book. Fantastic. What's the name of your book? Put it in there. I want to know. I'm already excited to read your book. And look, we got Jane this morning. Good morning, Vickie and Scott.
Good
nice
morning,
to see
Jane.
you. I like this. I met golf, but what a slip. So yes, that's good. Thank you.
Gold.
Yeah, gold is good. That's
good.
Yeah, that's a great one. Scott, I was thinking, and I just want to talk to you about this. It's off the cuff. He doesn't even know I'm going to do this at all. He doesn't. So I'm just going to tell him. I'd like to spend a couple of Fridays going over cryptocurrencies. And what cryptocurrencies we are investing in and why we're investing in them. And, we want you to know that you need to make your own decisions about, cryptos that you want to invest in. But we want to share a little bit more about cryptocurrencies and why I think right now is absolutely the time to invest in them. And this is like a once in a generation thing. And so I'm going to spend a couple of topics, not this one, because we're moving into the holiday. Hey, good morning, MJ. Nice to see you on. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. School starting next week remote here. So we are getting ready for that too. Yeah, that's a lot. There's a lot of getting ready for remote school. And, there's so much uncertainty around send your school. But if I was a mama right now, I can tell you I'd be homeschooling my kids just like that. I like this. Great to see you, Robert. Yes, it is. He's been hanging out for a long time and writing his book, which is fantastic. Can you share the name of your book, Robert, with us so that we can, say hi about that? I just want to tell everybody again, Monday, there will be no shows. We are celebrating the holiday. It's Labor Day weekend in the United States. And there's usually most everybody is out with their family on vacation. It's the last vacation before school starts for many people. So it's a big holiday weekend in the U.S. here. So wherever you are, you're celebrating maybe a bank holiday. We are selling Labor Day. We are celebrating Labor Day.
Sell it.
Yes, that's right. Let's hear. It's a confusing mess talking about returning to school, normalcy. Yes, that is kind of weird. Look at this. It's a social media planner, organizer, and content creator workbook for 18 months. How cool is that? That's really nice. So that'll be something you can pop on and make some extra money with, especially starting at the new year. Everybody needs their calendar.
Yep.
I like this. Welcome back, Robert. Missed you. Tell us about your book. Very cool.
18 months is cool too, because then it
Yeah.
doesn't end at the end of the year. You kind of have some lag time to either get a new one, transition over. That's smart. That's really smart.
So, moratorium this week. The CDC came in and said, you can't evict anyone.
Oh, I'm safe.
Yeah, it's safe right now. It's like you can't evict anyone out of their apartments. The pandemic possibility grew, and that meant a lot to me. I actually thought that was a great move.
Yeah, we don't have. What are we down to? 800,000 filing? No, 8.4% was the unemployment rate that was released today. So that's down significantly, but there's still a massive slack in the reporting, because there's 1 in 5 people aren't working even before the pandemic.
And these are good, hardworking people. These are people who want to work. They're not like these are people who are, I think the CDC did a good thing. I want to pop over here because I want to say this. Robert says, is planners also not dated? It's always usable anytime you use it or see it. I think that's way good. And Scott is going to do the weather.
More than likely.
Because there's this ginormous storm that is tracking, and it's gotten bigger than we've ever thought. And they're expecting, the possibility of, is it snow in Texas?
Could be. In the far northern panhandle, where it just touches Oklahoma, those first 2 counties could see some flakes.
Do you have a picture of it?
Chilly.
Can we pop a picture up?
Yeah, I can roll it up. Let me come over here.
Yeah, we this way you can see how big it is, and it'll be moving, east as it goes, obviously. But right now, the possibility of it harming gardens and crops everywhere is pretty big. I just want to pop it up here and let us show it to you. Talk about this for us and tell us.
Obviously, the bulk of the snow will be in Wyoming. They're going to be under the gun with some of these totals upwards. The models are cranking out this morning upwards of 20 plus inches. So that's big in some of that higher terrain. But even through the front range of Colorado, we're at 7, 8, 9, 10, 9, 6 inches, 7 inches, until you get along I-25 and then cross into New Mexico, and then it begins to trail off. But even in western Kansas, it's painting a foot of snow. And
that's huge.
This is the first, we're just ending the first week of September. So that is epic. And then down into the Texas Panhandle. So we'll watch this. We'll get another model run that'll initiate at noon. The data starts cranking at about 3 o'clock. So we'll have that at 5 o'clock Mountain, the latest. But otherwise, I think I'll probably be here Monday just to talk about it, unless for some reason I am.
Yeah, that's a lot of crops that could be lost.
Yeah.
And we just can't afford that right now.
The cold behind it is going to be interesting, because we're looking at low minimums. I know you want to play with me right there. Come on. Yeah. So it's going to be, we've got some widespread cold temperatures that are coming. So we'll just, we'll play that out here. So
that's going to affect crop
30s.
loss.
Yeah. Colorado Springs at 27 on Wednesday morning.
Wow.
So, that's
a weird cold snap.
It's season ending. Season ending. It really is.
It really is. That could really hurt gardens that are still, eking out food. Robert said this about the CDC. The reports are also misleading. It includes the part-time hires also and census workers.
Yeah, for the labor report.
Yeah, it does. And so the point, I think, is the possibility of the spread of COVID and having people. I like the moratorium there. I think it should be. I think there are good working people right now who suddenly are out of work, and they need to have some sort of relief happening. If they're not getting any funding from the government, the banks would get funding just overnight if they needed it. Oh, but the people, let's just take our time.
Not so much.
Yeah. And so right now, I think the moratorium is great, but I think for those mortgage holders of those buildings, of those apartments and rentals, I think they need to get some kickback help as well. I think they need to have, some help. In fact, I also think homeowners, there are homeowners who are in the same situation as renters of an apartment are.
Yeah.
And I think they are hardworking people, a lot of them professionals. I mean, United just let go of 19,000 workers, 19,000? Or is
That's
it
a lot.
16?
16 is what I read yesterday. 16 plus.
16,000. Yeah. Workers. And these are people who want to work. These are people, if you know United workers, those people breathe, they bleed United. They love working for United.
Yep.
And being let go of at that time when your job is there, that's rough. That's really, really tough. And I think that homeowners, and I just think all of the mortgage, rental, everything should get moratoriums for a certain period of time. And I think from now till December 31st, I don't think that's long enough.
There just isn't enough money to fix the problem.
Yeah.
That's the issue, is that you can keep people in their homes so they have some safety, but if they still can't afford food, if they can't afford to keep the power on, if they can't afford, then you've got shelter. That's great because winter's coming. It's just it is a no-win situation, and there's going to be a lot of problems, a lot of chaos from this, and that's something that we're going to really struggle as a people and as a nation to get through. And you throw in the agitation associated with the election, and you'll be glad you have a quiet home, to retreat from that if you choose to, because some people won't. There's no way through this. There's no way around this. We've got to go through this very, very trying experience.
Yeah, it's going to be trying. That's for sure. Hey, Amber, nice to see you on.
And this is why your cryptos are so important.
Yeah, and that's why we're going to be headed into those conversations. Now, I told you, I'm going to say this again. You've heard me say it a bajillion times. Hang on. I would normally be rejoicing, but I'm selfishly wanting to pass over us so my garden is completed its season and feel for all the farmers that have big crops in the fields. Yes, because this is going to affect our food supply in a big way.
Ultimately. But the cool thing is once this is gone, it's gone. We go back to above normal temperatures, the drought, the dryness stays. So it's one of those flash in the pans. It's been a warm September, but we have these 4 days, these 3 days, which are greatly below normal. And when you step back and average the whole month, it'll be normal or even a little bit above. So you could hide these kind of disasters inside the statistics of climate change.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out, but it's going to be chilly.
Hey, so Amber, I just want to talk to you for a second. It's always great to see you. Yeah. I watched your live the other day and oh gosh, my heart went up in my throat and it pulled my heartstrings. Love your courage, but I also love your passion about topics regarding helping business owners. One of the things you said in your live that really caught me was you were talking about being able to see where people are stuck and being able to move them through that. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I can totally relate to your message. And helping people succeed, just beautiful. And if you guys haven't watched Amber's live, I'm certain she's going to do another one because somewhere somebody called her out and said, you need to go live. And, I actually loved it. And I just wanted to thank you for your courage of doing that. Yeah. And love that you're with us, by the way. So I'm going to jump back over to Robert. He says, I'm always watching the universities carefully now between COVID and their outbreaks and the election. It's going to be an interesting end of the year. That is so true, Robert. That's so true. And that's the thing we're watching right now. And I told you at the beginning, Scott and I are completely and utterly dedicated on both our shows to talk about what's happening, even the good, the bad, and the ugly. If it's the good, the bad, and the ugly, at least you're informed. At least you see, we bring you the latest data. We spoke 4 months ago about what they're talking about now about the food shortages that are going to be happening. And I think Bloomberg put it out. They said that there were going to be 132 million people around the world who were going to be in a famine by the end of this year.
Wow.
And just in the U.S., what were the numbers here?
I'm
Like,
just pulling up the article so I could. The ranks of humans fighting hunger projected to swell some 45% this year to more than 50 million. Total population 328. So that figure Bloomberg quoted represents a sizable chunk of the country. And we certainly don't have to wait until the end of the year for those numbers to get really, really bad. In fact, it's being reported that one recent survey found that one tenth of all U.S. current households don't have enough given food in a given week. So it's already 1 in 10.
yeah,
And 50
1 in
million
10.
put us closer to 1 in 6.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an appreciable
1 in 6 family. It's like that kind of thing right now that's going to be top of mind going into this. And I think we're going to see, a pretty rocky,
There's an analogy with this because we live rural. We live where there are bears, and it is September. And bears need about 20,000 calories daily to pack on the fat so they can hibernate through the winter. Now, there was a sow, a mama bear with 3 cubs, broke into a house and was shot. And this mama bear, was just trying to provide for her kids who knew winter was coming, who had to provide those calories. That's her biological responsibility for these cubs. And she wasn't able to meet that. So she was going into dangerous situations to try to get the food for the cow, for the cubs. And if we look at what humans are going to do, we're
like, we'll do
there.
what we need to do to feed our cubs.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's an analogy there.
Even the bears in South Lake Tahoe, I think it's Lake Tahoe, they're breaking into convenience stores, big grizzlies, and eating the food in there. One walked into a Safeway, scared everybody out and was just eating the food because, figured out where the grocers are.
Yes.
And, it's like if bears are doing it right now and they've got a pretty grip on it, then it's going to be...
It'll propagate through the food chain.
Yeah. And humans are just as equal as to do that.
Yeah, we're smarter.
Yeah,
we can scheme to get the food in a different way, either more powerful or more dangerous, depends.
Yeah. Hear you, Robin. This is going to negatively impact food supplies that we desperately need. Yes, I mean, we're so busy always being the land of plenty. It's really hard to move that. Robert, everything is moving target through February, at least. Yep. Yes, it is. You can find Amber's lives at, and there's her live. And I love that one. And we got to thank you. So to me, what the future is going to be about is what we're talking about. And 2 things can happen. You can say to yourself, man, these people are, really talking about a massively hard future. Or you can say, man, I got to prepare. But I don't want you to just take our word for it. Go definitely to YouTube and listen to Robert Kiyosaki, listen to Ray Dalio, listen to Robert Reich. It doesn't matter, conservative or progressive. Everyone can agree that we are headed. Every economist around the world knows that we are headed into some of the hardest times we've experienced in probably a century, I think.
No doubt. And then look at Ice Age Farmer.
Christian. Let me tell you, Christian's been on it for a long time. That guy has helped the world.
Yep, he's got his pulse on the food supply, the supply chains, the interruptions at granaries, the explosions and fires at sugar refineries. You don't realize how many moving parts there are to put food on your table, especially when we've grown apart from this farm to table, this farm to home model, or we're in a different world. And so we're bringing in food from far, far, far away. And that just means that there's a lot of tanks of gas, a lot of people touching the end product, and a lot of potential places for it to break, to break.
Robert, you're on it right here. Between food problems and social justice issues, economic and election, do the 2 of you see the possibility of a depression worse than the 30s? So here's what I want to say. I'm not going to speculate. I'm going to just deal with facts right now. Our unemployment numbers at this moment are lower than what they were in the 30s. They're deeper. Yeah, they're bigger than they were in the 30s already. Our banks are equally unstable. September of last year, we had to bail out the repo market. And the repo market is the credit market. It's not the repo man who takes your car. It's a different market. You'll have to look online for it.
He takes the bank.
So, Robert, what's interesting about the 30s is that we didn't have the technology that we have right now. So to me, it feels...
Or the city dwellers.
That's right. We didn't have as many city dwellers as we do now. So there's going to be similarities. There's going to be... I think we're going to see the dollar really get hammered. Because the value of the dollar is actually 3.5 cents. And we're going to see markets get hammered. We're going to see other markets be created. In my humble opinion, the new stock market is going to be cryptocurrencies. And the old stock market is going to be an old stock market. Yep. And it may still be usable or not. I don't know. But the thing that's there about this stock market is our stock market is very dependent on resources, and resources have gotten very thin. We've experienced a lot of fires and things like that. So I'm not sure what the weather conditions, but we've lost crops around the world like you would not believe. We've lost more food that feeds the world. It's just disintegrated into nothing. And so it's not just that you like cornflakes, it's that the cost of cornflakes are going to be way up here, even though Kellogg's... Yeah. And we're looking at huge things and then we also have this new technologies. But here's the one thing I want to make sure that we know about, Robert. Those people who are well aware and willing to look at the problem, you have to be willing to look at the problem and see how it's going to affect you. But in the 30s, millionaires were born, and in the 30s, poverty with some people was born. And the choice of those two, whether you were a millionaire or in poverty, had a lot to do with the amount of information you got, which wasn't much in the 30s. And now we get information around the world that allows us to act faster, so much faster. So I don't know. I know we are going to have certain calamities and things that are going to happen in mostly our fintech, our financial tech. Our financial markets are going to be very different. It's moving. The food markets and supply chain developments, manufacturing has got to be brought inward again. I don't see China suddenly being able to manufacture stuff. I don't know about medicine either, Robert, because the possibility of a depression right now, China is the number one maker of pharmaceuticals for us. And they're flooding and underwater. And, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's just a lot of uncertainty. And in some ways, yes, I think we're going to see hard times like the 30s. And in some ways, no, if you prepare, you can really flourish. There's so many opportunities out there. So it depends on where what you do, I think. But wow, that's a good question.
If we end up with, let's just say that, well, what we're seeing, Vic, is the Paycheck Protection Plan continuing to it's ending. It's straight up ending. End of this month, it's done. So these companies that have been able to continue to put out paychecks under this government backstop, that ends. And we're not to the point where we can write that kind of a big check because it's just another debit on the on the ledger. So I think the biggest risk, whether there is a job there or not, becomes inflation. With less supplies, fewer manufacturers, fewer opportunities because there's less manufacturing and service, that just means straight up there's less jobs. And without the economy still greased and flowing, and we're still trying to find the bottom. And until we can find the bottom and say, okay, this is the minimum employment that we go, it's still downward. And so prepare like it's a depression and then hope for the best. And you hope for the best by protecting what you have. And gold and silver have been manipulated by the powers that be since since we ended up with banks because they wanted to hold it all. So cryptocurrencies are probably your best bet because they will appreciate dramatically frighteningly, they will go up because it's going to be difficult for you and I and so many other people to take what fiat dollars they have and then go to the gold store, buy it online. That stuff is going to go up so fast. So, but through the access of your phone or computers, you can purchase these cryptocurrencies and do it without breaking a sweat, without exposing yourself to mask wearers, without exposing yourself, period. So
Yeah.
I think this is the best way to plan for whatever eventuality is coming, because we need the most out of the system before the herd realizes I have to get out too.
Yeah. And that's the thing. During this show, from the time we started seeing stuff back in December, we told everybody buy food. We told everybody what to do. We also have co-written a book. You guys know 2030 is coming out. It's the guide to help you get through the next decade and what things you can do and continue to do. But I agree with Amber and myself as well, but a lot of people who keep a focused eye on things have been waiting and warning about the state of things and where it may be leading to.
Yep.
And this is the key thing. We have done research. We're researchers. We're futurists. We do the same thing. We write books, etc., and we put all of that out. But even those super, super popular economists and billionaires, all of them are saying that.
Yep.
It's everywhere. It's so they know. They absolutely know. They're preparing themselves so they're not taking such a hit or taking such a loss. And if you follow the money, you're going to see what they're investing in.
Vickie,
you're going to see that somebody put $250 million into Pirate.
Yep.
You're going to see people buying where the wealthy are now moving their currencies and their assets, farms and new digital currencies.
You know that boat will never sink.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they promised everybody that got on board. The boat will never sink. It's unsinkable.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to put on life rafts, just because it's unsinkable.
I love this right here. Exactly. The word of the year, pivot. Important to have the flexibility to explore different income streams, food sources, connecting more locally with tradesmen, etc. We're all pivoting. Yes. God, that's so good. Thank you for that.
Pivot before you have to pivot.
Scott, I love that statement. Prepare for a depression and be ready for what you get. That's right. Yep. That's right. I like this. Yes, been there, did that. I was one of those until I moved to the mountains in my 20s. Hey, Marie Jo, nice to see you. I always love her comments. We are navigating in uncharted waters. You got that right. That word right there, that first sentence, we're navigating in uncharted waters. I'm not able to project anything, and I used to be good at it. I know. Now, I want to talk about this once upon a time. Thank you very much, MJ, because I know, Marie Jo, that you've probably seen the same things I have, which is, you buy gold and you buy silver and you buy dollars and you buy investments, but you're very smart. You buy so they have correlated. So if the dollar goes down, gold goes up. If the dollar goes up, gold goes down, or silver. You find some investments that have inverse relationships. Yep. I told Robin about a year ago when I started noticing the dollar drop, then gold drop, then silver drop, then oil drop, then the market drop. And I was like, now, wait a minute here. I even saw that for a while with the cryptocurrency.
The cryptos.
Everything went down. And I was like, okay, that's impossible to do. And I think, Marie Jo, one of the interesting things is we have a lot of AI and software running our markets now. There's not that human potential, that human interaction there. There's only algorithms that are like, if this, then sell. If this, then buy. And so we have markets that are volatile and go up, or have flash crashes and come down. I was noticing markets. Monday, the market fell 1,000 points. It closed at like 800. But I was listening to everybody talk and nobody knew why it fell. Nobody knew. It was the day the CDC did the moratorium, but nobody knew exactly why that market fell. And you're right. I am not able to project anything, and I used to be good at it. Me too. That was one of the things that my clients hired me for, was to keep them out of bad markets. That's once upon a time. And this is the issue right there. Great point. Really, really spot on point.
We've all been herded into the same investments. And now passive investing is so big to where these funds are just buying the basket of S&P, or they're buying just Facebook, they're buying Amazon, they're buying Tesla, they're buying Apple. What's the other big one? But they're buying the big boys and then just hoping and hoping and hoping. And as it goes up, you have to buy it because you've got to stay a certain percentage invested. We're cornered. We're cornered. We need the traders back in the pits so we can see and then
what's going on.
Yeah, what's going on without the HFT. And there's actually New Jersey wants to put a tax on the high frequency traders where they have their server farms in New Jersey and then beam that data into New York City. And that is something I am all for. Let's slow this baby down so we can get some proper price discovery. Let's slow it down.
Yes. I like this. Pivot and adapt. Donnie says, this is the perfect storm and it's coming from all directions. We all know something is happening, but yet it seems there is always a bigger story. Simply the best you can do is to try to remain aware and be prepared the best you can. And this is going to be the story for the future for a long time. And I think it's going to be the story for the future for the next decade. Yes, it is a perfect storm. You want to pivot and adapt right now. MJ, I'm not sure I've seen such an unprecedented scenario in all my 58 years. I know that it's like adapt is another great word for 20 and 21 and beyond. It's going to be adapting to the next 30 years. The next decade till 2030. Right, MJ, I feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone TV series and it's not ending. So true.
A commercial break.
Amber says it's because part of the stories are missing. Oh, yes. You got that right, sister. Right there. It's because part of the story are missing and some that are deliberately made confusing. Yes.
Gaslighting.
You're so gaslighting. That's right. Sometimes short-sighted quarterly goals replace long-term well-being, financial, and overall. You got that right. There's so much being removed that it's kind of like a 1,000-piece puzzle turning into a 5,000-piece puzzle and looking for a few missing pieces that didn't come with the board.
Yep.
That's beautiful. Robert said, come over here. Hi, don't think we had so many major issues going on at all at exactly the same time. So it becomes difficult for many to stay focused. Mental health is going to be the top priority for so many. Ooh, I agree with that.
Yep.
This is where community comes into play. You got that right, Robert. Be there for others. This is so true. Robert, that's why we do this show. We want to be there for others. It's like, yes, it's coming. Yes, it's in the boat. Here's what you can do. Here's how you're going to get through it. Here's what you need to do. Unfortunately, in some areas, the learning curve is there and it's a pretty steep one. In some areas, it's going to be easy and you're like, oh, I know how to do this. It's definitely going to have to be a time where your community is everything. Your community is everything and your attitude is everything as well. Thank you, Amber. Got to run. Love you guys. We'll catch the rest on replay. Thank you. Hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday. Robin, yes, Amber, I agree. It seems like a real wag the dog series of events. It sure does. You guys are all smart and on this. Have a safe and fun holiday weekend. And Amber says, thanks, Karen.
Thanks, Karen.
Smile to all of us as well. Thank you. Donnie says, I've been treading water just since we returned from Puerto Rico, trying to decide which direction to swim and navigate through these tumultuous waters. Yes. And just like Marie Jo said before, this is the thing. We can't tell anymore. There isn't like a certain place to be when it's a global event. There's not like a certain place to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like, that's like pretty tough.
Late 1900s.
Yeah. I was born in the late 1900s and I got my financial education when before day trading, hedge fund, toxic assets, etc. I'm now an onlooker, leaving it, to the universe to guide me. Marie Jo, I know this place. I know this place right now because I tell you, I love the financial markets. And when I saw this happening, I left years ago because I knew this was going to happen. I did not expect that they were going to kick the can down the road in 2008. That was my first error. I didn't see that coming.
Yep,
but now it's made the problem bigger.
Yep, they've just blown at a larger bubble, and the bubbles have to keep growing. Otherwise, they don't have the funds to rescue the system, to save the system. It's depression level problems. What started the depression back in the 30s was that October 29 crash. It's interesting because the markets peaked on September 2nd or 3rd of 1929, just like they did this year. So there's a very fascinating parallel that has been underway. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens nonetheless.
MJ, I want to share this with you because this is what I did, and it's helped me out tremendously. And there's a couple of books you can read. It's one is called it's a Bitcoin book, and it is something or revolution. It's on Amazon.
Karen will find it.
Yeah, Karen, it's something or revolution. Just put Bitcoin and put evolution or revolution. So let me just say, Marie Jo, if you're good at fintech, which you were, the next place you need to go in to help people still financially or still understand it and let it be made easy so you understand what it is, would be any of those two Bitcoin books. Just read that first one, Bubble or Revolution. It's Bubble, Bubble, or Revolution. And the authors' names they're from India, or they're Indian names. They're not from India, but they're Indian names. So I have a hard time saying them, because they're, but that's a good way to start and turn and just allow that to be open. If you're good at this financial market, trust me, you'll be good at this financial market because it's not polluted and you'll be able to tell what's happening as well. And it's much more freer. A market. It's much freer.
The opportunity with digital currencies right now is even with modest investments, you can generate or collect generational wealth.
Yeah.
That's the key, and that's why we are both big fans of it at this point.
Yes.
I mean, it is the opportunity with less than $15,000 to be able to create a nest egg that can last generations. There's only 20, well, there isn't even that anymore. There's maybe 17 million total Bitcoins when the mining finally ends in the better part of 100 years. And if that is digital currencies are to absorb, and it never will because so much of the money will just go bad. It'll just disappear out of the fiat system. But that means that you'll ultimately end up with 7, 8, 9 figures with just 1, 2 Bitcoins. And even then, that metric will not be worth anything because the dollar won't be there to value it against. That's the big risk, is that the dollar just is not there. And how can it be? How can it be? Because that debt will never be paid off with this kind of velocity and direction within the economy. At some point, there will be a debt default. Whether it's a company, eventually, and then it just begins to cascade very quickly through the system. And then it's always been a game of confidence, since we've lost the backing of the metals progressively from 1933 on through 1971. And that is just slowly, that rug has just been eased out from under us. And now it just completely does not exist. So the currencies will have to be backed by something, and we want to buy those somethings right now.
It's interesting to think that we've been changing over the last 40 years, but the transitions were slower. Adapt to new piece of tech. Now we are being forced to deal with change in almost every aspect of our lives, but I want to say at a speed we've never worked in before. A speed that is, it's so fast paced right now. And I think part of it is, someplace we can move. I love this.
Yeah, it's
right
slow
here.
at first, and then all of a sudden. That's how
Just boom.
bankruptcies happen. Slow
That's
at
right.
first, and then all of a sudden.
And then it's like a domino
Yeah.
effect. We
Boom.
can no longer talk about long-term planning, and is now being redefined, unfortunately. And that's what I tell my team as well. I'm like, when we make plans, they're flexible, malleable, and you have to pivot right at a moment's notice. Right, MJ Caesar, I could call that surrender, because there is something much larger in control. Have faith. Yes. Let's see. Amazon. Here it is. This is thank you. That's my girl. See, this is Karen, my genius girl. Thank you,
So
Karen.
true.
We love you. This is the book that I recommend, MJ, because it doesn't tell you about blockchain. It tells you about how this is being used. It tells you where it is in the world, and it helps you just understand the function of it first.
Yep.
You don't need to learn about cryptocurrencies until you learn the why or the how, or how it's even applicable. It's a super easy read with great case studies and examples in it. I'm enjoying it a lot. And there's, from that point, after you read that, you'll understand how this financial market is moving to this financial market, and you'll understand smart contracts and everything else. And if you're good at this is where you need to be. And because both of these are applicable. Yep. Both of these are applicable. The reason I can lead people through the storm is because I know both very well.
And then the other documentary that's really good is The Rise and Rise of Bitcoin. The Rise and Rise of Bitcoin. So that's worthy of a view, because it just lays it out, the why we need this system, why we need to let go of the old system, and how, in so many examples, it has not served us, but just those that are in control of it. We're all just servants. We're debt servants at this point. And that's what is exciting about this system, is it takes our servitude and gives us our sovereignty back.
Yeah, this is, and if this is Ross Arnston that I'm saying hi to, hey Ross, nice to see you. I'm glad. I can't wait to get you on my show. We're gonna have a good time.
Nice.
And I'm hoping you said yes. She said, thanks, Vickie. I'll check them on Amazon. Yes. Let's see. Here's the link. This is very key right here. You got to learn and do your own research. This is really what's important right now. And it doesn't matter how little money you have. The best way in is, I think everybody should read the Blockchain Revolution Technology, Cryptocurrencies. This one that is the Bubble book, you definitely, anybody who wants to read that should read that. It's really great. Change has always been part of life. However, change is now part of our daily culture. Yes, it is. Change is a constant. Change is a constant. And there's a big difference between change and transformation. Change is forced upon you. Transformation is something that you want to do. Transformation is when you say, I'm going to go with the flow. And then the flow suddenly gets easier. If we stopped power struggling with this change, and we educated ourselves as much as we could about this change, we might see things that we absolutely see as opportunities, that are prosperity builders, that are abundance giving. And we could start to see, it's like, if we continue to hang on to the thought that things should go back to normal, whatever that is, you can find some holes in the boat and see why normal is sinking, and we're building this new boat that everybody can get on together.
Yeah, normal will not be allowed to reestablish itself. That's why all of this is happening. It is forbidden to be in the future. And that's the challenge, is how do we go through this turbulence between here and there that we know is coming? And you can only do that with a life vest, because the boat that has taken us for so long, she's going down. She's going down. So we need to have a little something. We've got, all of us, because we're here, I think, have been divinely guided in one way or another. But it's just, how do you have a means of exchange? How do you hold something of value to give you that opportunity for pivotability in the weeks and
you
months
have that opportunity
ahead.
right now.
Yes.
This is the time. You want to be on board. This is the time. We've warned you about everything else, and we have done it with 100% accuracy.
Yep.
So here, wow, that phrase triggered me. Yes, debt servant, so true. But until explored, it just seems like business as usual. Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Change is something that is forced upon you, Vickie Helm. Yes, thank you. Let's see. There's no normal. The old ways are gone. We are all in a world classroom of creating the new normal. And I want to talk about this because what Robert says right here is so important. There are no experts. There are no experts. Nobody out there is going to save you. There's nobody with the right, perfect answer to get through this. It's exactly like Marie Jo said, we're in so much uncertainty. We don't know what's happening next. We literally have to be present to our lives. The old ways are gone. We're all in the world classroom of creating a new normal until it is time to pivot again. Beautifully said, Robert. That's so important for us to understand. So I want to say this. I want to say that we are headed into a weekend. It's a holiday weekend. Yeah. It's a time to be with your family and play, and don't burn yourself on the barbecue, and make sure that you have plenty of napkins for kids eating watermelon. And for this moment, don't worry about that. Just stay present right here.
But do some homework.
Yeah, do some homework.
Do some homework. Yeah, it's important.
Check that out. Move that. Working weekend for me. Laugh out loud. That's right. You finished that book. Yeah, Robert, it was great to have you on with us again today. I really appreciate it. By the way, I love your purple shirt in your picture. Scott, I always love Fridays with you. I actually really look forward to doing them with you. It's always fun. It's so informative. And next Tuesday, we're going to be live. Wait. MJ is popping on. Research is important. Very familiar with the blockchain revolution. More on the smart ledger technology and smart contracts. Yes, I do too. I really like the smart contract thing is going to be there. And making the investments right now can make you more than you will ever know. It's a once in a generation wealth opportunity.
We're just dealing with a little bit of a correction right now. So these are great buy the dip opportunities.
That's right. Buy now and hold.
Yeah. Do it.
Yeah. You guys, thank you for being on the Coffee Break Show with us. Scott is practicing removing himself from the golf voice to maybe the tennis voice. The tennis fault, so yeah, I can hear that coming, right?
No, I like golf. I like green grass. I guess we could play tennis on the lawn, but that's only with the queen present.
That's right. All right, you guys. See you on Tuesday. You guys have a great holiday weekend. Yes?
See you then.
Mm-hmm. Bye. See you guys later. Make sure you read a book this week.